Welcome back everyone, it's Mark here again. Halloween has ended, so it's back to regular movies, which is good because I've watched some terrible Halloween films and I'm getting a bit tired of them. So, back to my original schedule. A little while ago I finally got to see Thor Love and Thunder. It was being quite difficult to get to the theatre to see it with COVID still going on, even if we're all ignoring it now, and I didn't actually get to see it in the theatre. And I was not super keen on a crowded theatre and no masks, so thankfully streaming came to the rescue again. Although I must admit it's such a colourful film, I would have really liked to have seen it on the big screen. This instalment stars Chris Hemsworth again, Natalie Portman, Christian Bale, and is directed by Taika Waititi again. So, catching up with Thor, played by Hemsworth, after the events of Endgame, he's joined up with the Guardians of the Galaxy and they've headed out into space for more classic Thor adventures, as narrated by Korg, played by Waititi, who seems to double as sidekick slash bard now, while trying to find himself. He seems to be largely self-absorbed though, leaving the Guardians stuck in a dangerous situation until he finally pulls himself out of his meditation to help. I kind of hope that the Guardians might have featured in the film more, but honestly, they look exhausted from dealing with Thor's bullshit, and they jettison him and escape first chance they get. Even if they had returned later in the movie when Thor needs help, that would have been pretty good and would have shown some real growth in Thor realising that he needs help and learning to play nicer with others. But they don't really pull on that thread, unfortunately. But it's a fun sequence and had a good time with seeing what they are up to with the God of Thunder. The inhabitants of the planet that he was supposed to save were probably not so impressed though, and they gift him the ultimate fuck you gift, two giant screaming goats. I thought these were hilarious and they seem to be quite polarising for some people. Thor seems to like them though, and I enjoyed them screaming the way throughout the film. I know it's a meme, and the screaming goat gag was also used to comic effect in the Muppet Haunted Mansion. Honestly, I'm not sure why it's so funny, but I enjoyed it in both films. And they do come from the mythology, as Thor had two giant goats that would pull his chariot. Gore, played by Bale, he's this entry's villain. After being forsaken by his god and left for dead, is chosen by the Necrosword and corrupted to kill all the gods. He started murdering his way through the gods and comes to Thor's attention. Thor goes on to rescue Sif, and it was great to briefly see her since she's been missing in action for a few films now. Unfortunately, she gets fridged for most of this film too. I'm really hoping that Sif gets some more time with Thor in the future. When Gore attacks New Asgard on Earth, Thor intervenes and meets the mighty Thor, Jane, played by Natalie Portman, who's been transformed by a reconstituted Mjolnir. They defeat Gore's minions, but he escapes and abducts all the children, and then the Thors have to team up, go on an intergalactic road trip to recruit some help, rescue the children and defeat Gore. This film's bright, it's colourful, it moves along pretty quickly, it's also very comedic. There's not much that is safe from mockery, however it is sometimes tonally a bit erratic. It feels out of place to be making fun when something quite serious is happening. The jokes come thick and fast, but some of them are a bit stupid, and particularly in light of a character's illness, need to be handled a bit more gently. The main criticism about the film has been largely, I think, directed at the comedic elements. Sometimes it's just a little bit too much. It's like they saw We Liked Ragnarok, which had some funny, and then just spun the dial and turned it up to 11. It can be funny, but it shouldn't descend into parody, and this film takes that a little bit too far at times. Just dial it down a little bit. Thor also felt like they took him right into himbo territory as well. They've gradually relaxed the character over the films, which is fine and appropriate as he gradually gains more experience hanging out on Midgard with the Avengers and so on. But he was never stupid in those films, and sometimes he's stupid or self-absorbed and unaware, and he shouldn't be stupid. He's a god, he's not a total muscle-bound idiot. Hemsworth, I think, though, does a good job as usual, so I don't think the problem is him. He can handle the comedic elements well, but I think it's more how he's been written, or they've gotten carried away with improvising some of the stupid. Hopefully, if they can just dial that back a little bit for the next film, he'll still do well. The film is adapting elements from the Mighty Thor comic run from 2015, where Jane Foster wields Mjolnir. In the comic, she becomes Thor when Thor Odinson is rendered unworthy by something that Nick Fury whispers to him. She is ill in the comic, and using Mjolnir undoes the treatment she needs as per the film. And Gore appears from Thor, God of Thunder in 2013. His story is mostly intact, although in the comic he threatens Thor's family line. Also, his appearance in the film is much more human-like, which is a shame because I think his comic design is actually quite iconic. He has the same white skin but no nose and head tentacles. There was some bullshit excuse floated about not wanting him to be mistaken for Voldemort, which was thrown out there, and I think that seems like a bit of a cop-out to me. We've had other alien designs in other films that don't have noses, and don't immediately think Voldemort whenever I see one. And he's supposed to be an alien, so it would have helped to sell the alienness of him. But Bale does a great job. Maybe it was more about marketing it as Bale and having him look recognisable. And he's certainly riveting when he's on screen. It's a shame he doesn't get more screen time, as he's a really fantastic villain though. It's also great to see Portman really get something to do in this film, and I think the character could have gotten some real insight into Thor and the burden and responsibility that comes with the kind of power he wields. I think that was a missed opportunity to explore. But she's very heroic, and she makes a sacrifice that puts the greater good ahead of her own needs, so she ties up her own arc in a very satisfying way. Overall, I had a good time with the film. It's certainly not a train wreck, and there is some fun definitely to be had. I think Ragnarok is the better of the two though. It seemed to be a bit more focused and in control, whereas this entry is a lot more indulgent. And like its predecessor, Love and Thunder takes characters and moves them along narratively, which should open up opportunities for the series moving forward. I just hope they can balance the excess a little bit and tighten things up, and overall I think it's still worth a watch. It's definitely one of the better films in the current Marvel phase. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. Okay, so this is my review for this week. I hope you found that of interest. As always, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave any comments below. On screen is my Twitter link. I'm also opening up another account on Mastodon, just in case Twitter goes south, since Elon has... I don't know what he's doing. It seems to be working very hard to try and destroy the platform. At any rate, we'll cover those bases, so you'll also be able to find me over there. Anyway, enjoy some movies and some TV, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye now.